Hi, this is Nancy Yearout, and welcome to my show, High Road to Humanity. In every episode, I tell you powerful true stories filled with great wisdom that you can use in your own life as you strive for a higher road to travel. My featured guests will have their own unique stories to tell that enlighten your mind and your soul. So kick back, relax, and learn the secret to success when you take the high road. Hi, this is Nancy Yearout, and welcome to High Road to Humanity. And today we have a wonderful guest. Her name is Rashmi Khilnani, and she's joining me here today from India. I think she's in New Delhi. And we're going to talk about what's going on with humanity. We're going to talk about her book, The Divine Mother Speaks, which if you're watching me on YouTube, I'm holding it up today. But before I bring her on, I'm going to talk a little bit about what's happening with humanity right now, because things are really gotten out of hand. You know, I want to say that there were 50 shot and 9 fatally in Chicago this last weekend. It was a weekend of violence. This is from the Chicago Times that I'm looking at right now. And it says 9 people were killed and at least 41 others wounded this weekend in Chicago gun violence. Most of the shootings happened on the south and west sides. 1 person was killed before sunrise. Monday, 2 people were killed. Sunday, 4 people were killed. Saturday, and another died Friday. They were all males between 15 and 66 years old. 5 of the homicide victims were 20 years old or younger. This is just such a sad, sad situation. And it goes on to talk about the people, and God bless those families. Prayers out to Chicago. Let's see some peace out there, you guys. Let's stop the violence. That's what happened this weekend here or there in Chicago. Hey, we're getting ready for the debates tonight with Trump and Biden, and that's the big news. This evening is going to be the first debate, and I picked up Fox News, and it says that President Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden are preparing for Tuesday's debate in starkly different ways, with the latter engaging in mock standoffs, while the former says he's leveraging as practice the continuous environment he's always faced as president. Contentious environment he has always faced as president. So according to multiple reports, President Trump has refrained from his traditional debate prep and has eschewed practice sessions. Trump indicated on Sunday that former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie and his attorney Rudy Giuliani helped his prep, but it's unclear what exactly that entailed. So this goes on. He talks a lot about what they're going to hopefully talk about tonight and hopefully debate. So you guys need to check that out. That ought to be interesting. Now for some good news before I bring Rashmi on. There was a little boy who saw the fires were going on in California, and he picked up his baby Yoda and he brought it to them. He's 5 years old. It says, when Carver and his grandmother, Sasha Tyning, were putting together supplies to send first responders battling California's latest outbreak of wildfires, the 5-year-old spotted a Solidarity plush toy baby Yoda sitting on a shelf. Whether he truly understood the exhausting emotional toll tirelessly fighting the devastating infernos was taking care on fire crews, the 5-year-old's course of action was immediately clear. That's because, like baby Yoda, Carver is also wise behind his ears. I have always wanted to help and uplift anyone that's around me, and this really was a bright spot in a dark time, and he wanted to share it with everyone. So that's really cool. So that's our good news for humanity today. Now, here we have Ms. Rashmi joining us from India today. Let me give you a little information. Rashmi's been on the show before, but she was born in the designer city of Chandigarh, India. She was conceived and spent the first years of her life in Cairo, Egypt. Having lived and established a global business network with her former husband in the last 15 years, she's gone on to study and teach the world-renowned avatars, gurus, and teachers, and she's become a specialist in energy medicine. She's perfect for our show. She's on the forefront of bringing the ancient mystery school teachings of Egypt, India, Tibet, China, and the teachings into current time, and making these teachings simple and accessible to people at all levels of soul journeying. Hey, welcome to High Road, Rashmi.
Hi, Nancy. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing? Are you in New Delhi?
I'm in New Earth, New Delhi. It's funny that
it's good to have you. It's good to see you, and thanks for visiting us today.
Most welcome. Namaste, everybody. Big warm welcome, and everybody, lots of blessings throughout this transmission. of the heart activations for this grand wake up time, this grand awakening time, this time of moving out of the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius to the, golden age such as never before, together, ascension.
Talk about the golden age, Rashmi. If people don't know what that is, explain to people what that means.
Well, we have these larger cycles. We all need to look at the bigger picture right now to make sense of what's going on planet Earth. So, we had 26,000 years in the ecliptic. So we have 13,000 years of a sleep cycle and 13,000 years of a wake-up cycle. Now we're coming out of the sleep cycle into the wake-up cycle. And so for the sleep cycle, we choose to go into amnesia and forget who we be, which is unlimited, multidimensional, electromagnetic beings of light, love, and within the unified field of consciousness.
So now is the time for everybody to wake up and start to pay attention to what's going on around them and to change how they speak and how they act and how they operate. Don't you agree?
That's right. Well, now we're fully into what's called the photonic belt within our, galactic cycles and solar cycles and so on and so forth. So Earth is fully, as of 2012, Gaia has already ascended into a higher fifth dimensional and beyond multidimensional frequency. In 3D, we are very linear and left hemispheric. In 4D, we begin to awaken and realize that the story is inverted and that we've forgotten who we be. And then in 5D, we have, and these are all frequencies, not somewhere we go to, we come into the here and now, and we become part of the unified field of consciousness, which we already are, and we fully remember our celestial gifts, such as teleportation, telepathy, and all these other gifts. And we have many senses beyond the 5 senses. Some say 360, I say thousands. And so we are actually very sensual beings, and we're not linear. So the right and left hemispheres of the brain are now coming together, and we are becoming whole-brained again. And what the scientists call our junk DNA is not junk. We have 12 helix and beyond in our DNA, and we've only activated 2 in the sleep cycle. The rest is all reactivating. DNA activations are occurring due to this pure photonic light. So you have protons, neutrons, electrons, and photons is pure light.
So how long before everybody is enlightened? What kind of time are we talking here, Rashmi?
We just said the fifth dimensional frequency is beyond time and space. So basically time collapsed in 2012. However, humanity has been given these grace years, 7 or 8 years, to awaken and catch up with Gaia, which is our earth, our mother, and the sacred elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether, which is what we comprise of, and so does our physical world, so our bodies as well. And so in the fifth dimensional frequency, there is no future, there is no time, there is just the glorious, wondrous moment now.
Okay.
Which is in my book, Buddha Speaks to the Buddha Nature Within, and Nancy and I did a show on that book. And it's all about this wake-up time and keys and codes. These books are on Amazon. The Divine Mother Speaks, The Healing of the Human Heart, which is energy mastery. We've come here to learn self-love, and this is a school of self-love, and we are now collapsing duality polarity, which is monkey mind, right, wrong, good, evil, birth, death, and we are physical, immortal beings.
Right. So now we're learning to become in the now and not be so judgmental, and to learn to love ourselves, is what you're saying.
That's a part of it, yes.
Rashmi. Well, we are. I mean, a lot of people, what do you think about what's going on with humanity right now, Rashmi, with all the situation, all the unrest, all the shootings that I just talked about in Chicago? What's your feeling on that? I mean, do we have to go through this before we can all become enlightened, or did the bad have to go before the good can come in, or how does that work?
That's right. That's right. So my third book is called Shiva Speaks, Conversations with Mahavatar Babaji, and the Shiva archetypal energies exist within each and every one of us. So in order to create a more expansive reality, we have to have a destruction or, of the lower octaves for the recreation or the creation or the re-remembering of the higher octaves. And that's the 3D stories, and the children that are being abducted for thousands of years, and all this horrible stuff is all going to come to light. And within 3D 4D, yes, there is a certain amount of judgment, and people will be action reaction cause and effect, and people will be brought to justice. But within the fifth dimension frequency, we collapse all those stories of good and evil, and we come into that divine neutrality, the 0 point energy, the quantum field, the now moment, and the unity and the oneness, in which there is no one to forgive, because everything is one. Every other self is a unique aspect or fractal of source, which is what we all be. Yeah.
Right. Hey, listen, we got to go to commercial break. You guys, I'm here today with Rashmi Khilnani. She does have quite a few books. Her last name is spelled Khilnani. If you want to find her books on Amazon. This is Nancy Yearout. This is High Road to Humanity, and we will be right back.
So where is
this is Nancy Yearout, and this is High Road to Humanity. And we're here today with Rashmi Khilnani, and we are discussing some of her books. The one that I have in my hand today is The Divine Mother Speaks. I made some notes out of this one. There's so much in your books. They're not long, but gosh, Rashmi, they're really full of wonderful knowledge. And one thing you talk about, I wanted to ask you about, is the ancient mystery schools. Talk to me. Are there still mystery schools that people can go to, and where are they, and have you taught there? Can you give me a little information? I'm just curious about this.
Yeah, none of these things are linear locations, though they may be. So, the mystery schools are the ancient mystery schools of ancient Egypt and many other pantheons. So the book, The Divine Mother Speaks, is the decoding and simplifying of Egyptian mystery school and many of the tools used, such as sound signatures for healing, because sound is a powerful way to heal. And so we're all healing out the wounding of 13,000 years, 5,000 years, etc., of the heart, of the human heart. And we all had many birth, death experiences in that cycle. Right. And so all of has to be healed, and that's what the Egyptian mystery schools and all mystery school is about. And Saint Germain and the Ascended Masters are all here, but again, this is a mystical path, and it takes a little bit of time and focus. But now everything is coming to people very quickly, and so books like this bring those energies, and it's just a re-remembering of something you already knew because you were in one of those schools in the past.
I understand. Live. So it's bringing it to light. Now, are there still schools like around the world, or how many are there, or do people still attend, or?
Well, it's a mystery, so.
I love it. Rashmi, come on.
A piece of string, it's like, yes, there must be a few. And through the eons, there have been some. But I mean, these are not things you just, say, okay, here's my money and I'm here. You have to be of a certain frequency, and then you find yourself somewhere. But as I say, now this is happening within each and every heart, within the DNA, within the activations, through the current initiations of everything that's destroying around us. All of 3D is destroying around us for the creation of the new. Okay. So really, it's much better to get simple with everything, to become present, to become grounded, to be here now. And then if you're guided to books like The Divine Mother Speaks, then by all means, it will fire all your encodings. As you said, Nancy, these books are multidimensional. And so each time, even I pick it up in a very thin book, as you said, but hold it up for a minute for the audience.
Yeah, there's a ton. Yeah, and there's just a ton of information. In here, you say, the truth is there. It's plenty of time, and you are eternal, and also time can be bent. What do you mean when you say time can be bent, Rashmi, in the book?
We are timeless, spaceless beings. We are eternal, physical, immortal beings. And so time is a construct, man-made illusion, which is what we go through in the sleep cycle in order to forget. And we go into what is called monkey mind. So the left hemisphere is very linear and time-oriented, and a lack of everything, lack of time, lack of energy, lack of money. Well, none of these exist. in the fifth dimensional frequencies of heaven on earth, which is what we are co-creating,
Right,
and
right.
we are in, there is no such thing as time, though we might use time, we might bend time, we might go past, future, present in time. And so something like this radio show or a transmission or a presence or a book or a symbol or an ankh can reignite the wisdom of those mystery schools or wisdom, eternal wisdom of all time that exists within each and every one of us. The kingdom of heaven is within.
Right.
It
You know what? This makes a whole lot of sense to me, Rashmi. As you're talking about this, it makes
requires silence and it requires slowing down, slowing down.
okay. All right.
See?
She's telling me I got to slow down, you guys. I think that's what Rashmi's saying. Well, okay. All right. All right. All right. Well, no, because I'm excited. I will tell you this, Rashmi. I'm excited that we are here and it is time because I feel it. I feel the energy. I feel different. I have gone within and I know that the peace and the happiness comes from within and not from outside of yourself or from any material objects. And I know that people are dropping off who do not have a choice, because we all have a choice, right? We can either choose to become enlightened or we can choose to go the other way. Isn't that what this is pretty much down to, a choice?
Exactly. We can choose fear or love. And so fear is going to keep us in monkey mind, or we can choose to come out of monkey mind into the heart, the soul, the gut, the body. So
And
being in nature.
and when we do that, what happens?
When we do that, we are in heaven on earth. We're in bliss. We're in joy. We're in the divine golden child frequencies, and we're sharing and loving, and everything is unlimited, and we manifest out of thin air.
I love it. And we manifest more quickly when we come from the heart. Now, you know, I learned on some of my shows to come from the heart, to ask a question of my heart, to put my hand on my heart and ask a question if I really wanted the true answer, because our bodies don't lie. And that's what we have to come to, is thinking through the heart and not through the head. What do you think?
Well, I would switch from thinking to feeling. So
Feeling.
feeling what's going on in the tummy. The tummy has a huge brain, much larger than that up here. And then also the heart energies, feeling through the heart, feeling the body, feeling your connection to Mother Earth, feeling your connection of heaven and earth. All of that is covered in the book. These are handbooks that you carry around with you, sometimes for life, because each time you dip in, you get another deeper aspect and re-remembering of who you be. And then you get more bliss, more joy, more synchronicity, more synergy, more serendipity. And you are able to go through the chaotic nodes that we are all going to go in through now in order to come out the other side into this ascension energy of the new earth, which is limited being, you know.
Well, and to put this in layman's terms so people, some of the listeners can understand, when you go from fear, being afraid of not having money or being afraid of not having enough or being afraid of whatever the situation is, and you go into your heart, that energy changes, doesn't it? And that's what changes, your frequency changes. And then that's when you're able to manifest so quickly and immediately. Is that right?
Yeah, or you're able to accept the, you know, the wisdom. The heart has a massive amount of wisdom. You know, it's a huge electromagnetic energy. It's massive compared to the mind. You can check out Google, you know, on heart math and all that. They show you the you know, all the different measurements around all of that stuff. So you know, the heart is simple, the mind is complicated. The heart accepts, the mind judges. The heart, the buddhi mind, which is the higher mind, which is when you meditate, you come into stillness, you connect to your breath, then you come into the wisdom energy, which is higher mind. So, you know, you ignite the chakras and the kundalini energy. And so all that is again covered in the book. We can't just cover everything in 5 minutes because they're huge questions, and really the answer is how questions. The answer is always allow, accept, own your stuff, you know, and heal the shadow. And the shadow is the irresponsible part that makes choices, not understanding that cause and effect is going to play out, karma is going to play out. And how do we come out of karma? By coming into dharma, which is right action, right thought, right word, right deed, which is integrity of matching the thought, the word, and the deed, and
Right.
taking a step before you make that choice.
Right. Integrity. We've got to come back to that integrity. And we've lost that as a society. And, you know, somebody said, came on one of my shows and said that there is no more karma. What do you think about that?
Well, it depends on who you are and your level of soul journeying. If you move in non-stop moments of now, from now to now, you transcend karma. If you are not in time, then you transcend karma. Karma can only exist within time, 3D reality, linear thinking, judging, and so on, as we've covered.
So as we
When,
change, that will change. The karma changes. That's where
when
that.
you're when you're fully in service to all that is, when you're in service and you become one with all that is, with every person who comes in front of you, you take care of yourself and you take care of others without any measurement, then you are in a flow, you're in the Tao, and
Right.
that is transcendence of karma.
It's being in the flow of the energy. That's really what it is. And you know, it's funny because you said you can pick this book up, and you guys, I'm holding it up here. It's called The Divine Mother Speaks. This is a book that I read once and then picked it up to have you come back on the show, and just picked up so much more out of it again. Just like you said, Rashmi, it's been really interesting to look at it again. And you talk about all this stuff, you know, time to wake up, heaven on earth. You say breathe into your heart and listen to what the heart says. I like that. And you talk about simplicity. You know, one thing, you live a more simple life, and I find, and I've realized over time, we've only got like maybe 1 minute to break here, but I've realized over time, when you live a more simple life, you're happier. What do you think about that?
Definitely, definitely. You know, I had homes across the globe. I had the this, the that, and I gave it all up to follow the, you know, to teach meditation in London many, many years ago. And then, you know, I became an author, I became a healer of healers, I became a teacher of multiple modalities of energy medicine. You know, I've been broadcasting nonstop for 10 years. I don't charge for 99.9% of what I teach, you know, and now I'm doing morphogenic work for the whole globe and the cosmos of these golden energies, and celebrating and eating lovely Indian food every day, and living in a huge castle-like place with 30 acres of trees and land in the heart of the city, donated by the Maharaja of Kashmir, and the whole place got emptied out with just me here and all these people taking care of me and me taking care of them, you know, the staff. And so even though I live simply, nobody believes I'm not, you know, a queen or something, which I'm not. But you see, when we serve so wholeheartedly, then it's just magic starts happening, you know.
Comes back to you. If somebody wants to get in touch with you and you do energy healings, how do they find you, Rashmi?
I'm not doing that anymore as such. You know, I recommend books, the radio shows that are all for free on the internet.
Right.
You just Google Rashmi Khilnani, and the film, I Got the Film, that I made with Neil Donald Walsh. We have Deepak Chopra, Mariam Williamson, James on Prague, People of the Street, many, many denominations speaking about heaven and hell, why are we on earth, what is the purpose of life. Very deep film. It's a documentary. You can buy it and watch it on Amazon.
Okay.
And
All right.
you know, sometimes if somebody lands up at my doorstep, then I might take on a student sometimes. But generally speaking, I'm working on the morphogenic fields for the whole of humanity and beyond.
I think it's wonderful. Hey, listen, we're going to commercial break. You guys, I'm here today with Rashmi Khilnani. If you want to pick up her books, she has several. Just go on to Amazon and you'll see all of her books. This one's The Healing Human Heart. This is Nancy Yearout. This is High Road to Humanity, and we will be right back. Hi, this is Nancy Yearout. This is High Road to Humanity. I'm here today with Rashmi. She's been here a few times with me from India. You know, Rashmi, you were talking about silence. And in your book, I jotted down a few notes. It says, be okay with being yourself and simply being. And then you wrote in there, Jesus said, be still and know. We've really gotten to where we have a hard time being still.
Yeah. Well, you know, this Corona pantomime, this whole collective shadow is coming up for us to heal the sleep cycle, and we have permissioned, you know, what is happening to our children, and many other disclosures that are going to come out that are going to be extremely shocking for everybody. And we have co-created this time to go within, to get simple. And that's what's happening. And until we get it, people are going to just continue to have that. So the ones that are getting it are going through a completely different reality, even in the same neighborhood, than somebody that isn't getting it. I mean, I'm really noticing that. For example, in India, it's all happening. And I mean, you know, but it's just not as bad as, you know, Australia or, and again, this is not a comparison thing, but you see, in India, people already understand beingness, though they are also having to become much more simple because, you know, the gizmos and everything, it's very Western. There's no such thing as East and West now. The West has become Eastern and the East has become Western.
Right.
Yeah, you know, people are all having to simplify, and that's helping everybody to get, you know, to go within. You can choose to wake up through suffering, which is the way humans like to wake up. Or you can choose, which is the way I prefer, is through grace and ease, and through serving, you know, taking care of self, clearing one's inner shadows, and then helping others, you know, serving humanity.
Right. Well, and everybody I know in the United States, they're so into their, you know, phones and their cars and the material items. You say here in the book, and I wrote this down because I thought it was interesting, humans are using their businesses as a way to avoid an intimate relationship with their hearts. And
Business, not business.
oh, busyness. Okay. And to somehow bypass having loving relationships with others. So it would behoove you to choose the business of stillness and simplicity, as opposed to the business of busyness, is what you say. So what I see, and I like that you address this in the book, is that, and I've been there myself in the real estate business, I can just remember, okay, I just have to get ready for that next deal so I can make more money, so I can buy more stuff. And that's been the mentality, I believe, in the United States for a long time. And I love that you address it in your book.
Well, you know, these books were published in America, and they occurred because of my mission in America. And I spent a lot of time there in the lead up to 2012 for the awakening of some of the spiritual leaders in the States. And America is playing a huge role in all of this because, you know, I don't want to get into politics, but really there are a couple of extremely enlightened leaders on the planet, and one of them is in America. Let's just leave it at that. And this is going to play a huge role. This has got nothing to do with politics. It's way beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
It's about good stuff, and then transcending that and coming into this much more equitable financial reset, which is what's happening. And eventually, you know, people will be, you know, living beyond money.
I agree.
So
what is your insight for 2021? What do you see happening in 2021? Do you have any predictions or any insight into that?
I live in the now moment, and as I've said, we are entering a massively amazing golden age time. And, you know, for the people that get it and get into truth, simplicity, love, and service to humanity selflessly, beyond money and lack and time and busyness, and get more eco-friendly and simple and grassroots and less into consumerism and all the rest of that, they will start living heaven on earth. And they will be grassroots communities, and they will be, you know, a lot of the nonsense is going to just keep collapsing. And the imaginers, there are certain people on the planet that are reimagining a better world, because the world is a dream and it's a hologram, and we, you know, created this dystopia, but now we're going to move into a utopia. But we can't do that without doing the inner work. Each one must go through the eye of the needle, which means truth, simplicity, love, which means pureness, you know, of integrity of thought, word, and deed.
Right. that means a lot. It's almost to me like going back to how it was when I grew up on a farm in Ohio, and we had a
Hello.
garden, yeah, and we grew our own vegetables, and my dad farmed, but he worked, at General Electric during the day, but he farmed at night. And and there were values and there were morals and integrity, and your name, meant something. I feel like we're
Yeah.
back to our roots, back to the way it was when I first grew up. What do you think, Rashmi? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. The simple way, the way of the indigenous people across the globe, the Aborigine of Australia, the basic, all the staff. We have 1,500 staff in the Ashok Hotel. And I've lived in hotels for 12 years, have sold the roofs over my head just to live, and serve out of Washington, D.C., London, and wherever I'm guided to go. And this corona means crown, and we are reawakening our crown chakras collectively and individually. And the crown chakra of the planet is Mount Kailash, and I'm at the foothills of the Himalayan mountains here in the plains.
Okay.
And the third book, Shiva Speaks, is all about that. And Lord, the Shiva energies, which none of this is religion. This is all archetypal energies and spirituality, which is this oneness that we all share. And so it's a very exciting time if we can just let go, as the Hopi elders say. If there is a fast-moving river, come to the center, get your head above water, see who's around you, and celebrate. And that's what one is doing one's best to do. So the staff in the hotel, they've been coming 50% of the time. So they have different shifts. So the 15 days of the month, they go to their villages, and then they don't want to come back. They don't really want to come to work. They don't want to come to the city. And I'm just like, I wish I could be with you guys in the village,
Yeah.
But I'm very lucky here because it's where I am. It's just, you wouldn't believe you're in the city, really. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm really glad you came to talk to us about all of these things, because it is a time for people to wake up. And I do see people waking up, but then like you said, the people who choose not to are just falling away at the wayside. And that's a sad thing to see happen. I've seen it in couples too. I've seen it in families. I've noticed that maybe one family member becomes enlightened and learns that this is what's going on right now, and starts to meditate, and they start to, go within and work on themselves, but the family doesn't. And so they're the outcast. Can you talk about that a little bit? And I've seen it in couples too, by the way, where maybe one person is enlightened where the other one hasn't gotten to that point yet. Can you address that for a minute?
Yeah, I mean, on the spiritual journey, you have to let go of all sorts of things. And sometimes even family members are not going in the same direction as you are. And many of the, ancient pioneers are talking about a splitting of the worlds. And everybody has free will and choice within 3D, 4D. In 5D, we align our will with divine will. So, when people say, like Delhi, that's why you're there, or you like London, that's why you were there 24 years. Well, since I've been fully into this, an ascension pioneer, it's not so much about what I like, because that's just a 3D type of thing.
It's where you're supposed to go to help people.
Well, again, supposed to is another 3D word, but it's more the Tao, it's the flow of the highest good for the collective, and for the self-expression of the soul, and for heaven on earth, and for the things that, are the broader picture for the well-being of all.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, I still have tons of questions for you. And I'm going to ask you this, Rashmi. I've had you on the show several times, but you've never told me, how did you get into doing this work? I mean, were you always intuitive, or how did this begin for you? How did you start on the spiritual journey?
Well, I don't know if you read the other two books. I think I do cover a little bit. I mean, I have to write a biography at a certain point.
There you go.
I don't write my books. I speak them out, and once I get the right transcriber, it'll all happen, and it'll be very large. It won't be one of these thin things. It's a different thing. But basically, you know, at a younger age, I was a jet set and had all these homes across the globe. And I realized that there was more to life. And also as a child, you know, in Egypt, I was already talking to the goddess in the sky, and I had a very magical, and I was able to talk to the animals and know various things. And then later I had recall that I had come down from Venus from higher dimensions to see the golden age, as one has done many times before in ancient Egypt and many other times. Um, but this time it's to take all 7 or 8 billion with us. That is the goal of this. You know, and the ascended masters and some of us on earth here, we're all becoming ascended masters, and we're doing it on earth. So, you know, that's what Jesus came to really teach us, because a lot of it has been twisted that,
Right.
you know, don't worship me, you shall do greater things than even I have done, you know, and you don't have to die on the cross in order to, you know, that's just all an inversion of the story. But it is about surrendering and accepting and, you know, releasing the old 3D stories and coming into this golden energy of the golden child within the divine mother, divine father energies within each of us. So the stilling and going into meditation, being silent and helping others is all very key right now.
Right.
And taking care of ourselves, loving ourselves in a way that in which our mummies and daddies may not have been able to, because the genetic wounding goes backwards and forwards, you know, until we become the healers. And what is healing? To make whole and complete, including the dark, so-called dark aspects of ourselves. Where there is a light, there will be a shadow. That the shadow is ultimately not real, you know, but it is to be responsible for cause and effect within 3D, 4D, which humanity has been very irresponsible on so many levels, and it's time to wake up.
It is time to wake up. Hey, we've got one more segment, you guys. This is Nancy Yearout. This is High Road to Humanity, and we will be right back. Hi, this is Nancy Yearout. This is High Road to Humanity. I'm here today with Rashmi Khilnani. Rashmi, thanks for coming on here today. You are so wise and you bring me back. You know, I get out there sometimes, and when I talk to you, I'm like, okay, I know all this stuff. I need to be more in the now. And we all have that. It's really hard, even though when we know this stuff and even though we've been taught, it's hard to live it, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's about making time to be alone and be in nature and connect to your breath. You
Mm.
know, it's that, or chant Om, you know, or play some sacred music, or chant Hugh, you know, or
Yeah.
go, you know, if you're feeling depressed, go help someone, go feed someone. Every day I share my food, no matter how much, you know, effort that takes. I just, you know, that's what I like to do, is to, you know, share what I have, even if in the bank I may not have much money, you know, and people just think, how does she continue to live heaven on earth when she doesn't charge for 12 years and she sold everything she had?
Right.
But you see, then you move into this other magical frequency, and you stay in the moment, and it does take the courage of the heart. So we all have to be very courageous now. And you know, the 3 books can really help people because they were particularly channeled by the ascended masters, Buddha, the Shiva energies, and the goddess Hathor of ancient Egypt, who's the goddess of love, for this golden age, for this time. And the next few months, the next few years, but particularly the next few months, you know, it's going to be extremely challenging as these systems continue to crumble. But
Yeah.
then the new systems will come through, and it's much more, instead of bashing what's wrong, to say, okay, what do I choose to create? And do I choose love? Yeah. What's your greatest challenge, Nancy,
My
right now?
greatest challenge right now is to live in the now, to live in the present moment, not to worry about what happened before or what lies ahead, but to be happy with just being here, just being
That's
connected to God. You know,
lovely. You're always in nature and cycling and in the beauty of nature. And in
I
those moments, you're fully present in the now. You're living heaven on earth right there, Nancy.
I am. I am. I've come a long way, to be honest with you, Rashmi. Well, you know that, or since I've known you even. And I'm working on myself every day. And I do the show to enlighten people, to tell them
You,
that this isn't it. There's more beyond this. This, you know, we live, and what we accomplish, I think, what I want to get out to people is what we accomplish now really makes a difference and will make a difference for not just us, but for all of us.
So yeah, you know, my heart goes out to America because the people there are going through a lot, you know, with the fires and so many things, and all this political, you know, it's really important for people to go into their hearts and switch off their televisions. The media is all going to be arrested in the times to come. I mean, people in India as well, I find it very difficult in my hotel tribe here to see that people are so mesmerized with believing their news and their
Not true.
politicians.
Right, right, right. Well, but
And
I see through it, Rashmi. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I see through it.
no,
Don't you think most people see through the media telling us lies? Don't you think most people see that?
I feel now it's happening more and more because you know Trump is exposing so much, and yeah, it's happening more and more, and hallelujah to that, you know. But it really is still the biggest threat out there is
The
you
media.
know, and it's so sad to say that my father was a major you know newspaper man, and that was the ilk before computerization and corporations were made out of, you know, very honest journalism.
Right.
Long time.
Right. No, I'm with you. I am. It's very sad to see. I really believe that this is just my feeling. All the fires that are going on in California, I really feel is brought onto that area because they have rejected, the divine. That's what I feel.
You know, there are so many stories within stories, depends on which perspective you look at. You know, there's weaponization going on, there's land clearing going on, there's profiteering going on. And yes, as we've said earlier, each one will have a very different experience depending on their frequency. So choose to vibrate higher. And how do we do that? To reconnecting to our innate nature, which is joy, which is harmony, which is peace, which is simplicity. It cannot come through the mind. The mind is always going to go future, future. Future doesn't exist. Just be in the now, breathe, and be grateful. The more gratitude we have, the more we clear our own inner stuff as opposed to projecting it out onto the outer hologram.
Rashmi, do you think that that was drawn to that area because of the energy and because of people not being in gratitude, because not, connecting to the divine is what I'm saying to you?
Well, I don't want to play God here, but you know, as I said, there are many reasons, and yeah, you know, we've covered that several times now. That as we sow, so shall we reap, and then some of it is past lives and so on, and then again, a lot of people can choose to leave those places and so on and so
And go
forth.
somewhere else. Right. Right. No,
Yeah,
I'm with you.
and
I'm with you.
soul, you see, a soul may choose to experience blindness in this lifetime, and I may try and give healing to make that person be able to see, and that may not be part of their soul contract because they've chosen to come and play the role of being in a film where they're blind.
Right.
And so, if you look at the bigger picture, the soul chooses all kinds of things, including to play Team Dark, you know. So yeah, you know, we cannot. It's not a
Can't
good
judge.
idea. It's
We
for the
can't.
subject.
Right. I see. I see. All right. Well, we've got about 5-6 minutes left. What is a message that you would like to give to people? What can all of us do? You've given us a lot of information, Rashmi, but I mean, what can somebody do who is really just wanting to come from their heart? Do you say meditate? Do you say journal? Do you say be still? What is your advice?
All of it, you know, just connect within, you know, make time for silence, make time for music, make time for play, make time to heal your wounded child within, which is that ego mind energy, and then connect to your golden child within, which is your eternal wisdom, your total expansion, your total joy and ecstasy, and just create for the heck of it. And don't worry about whether there's going to be profit and loss and whether somebody will like it or not. And love yourself every day in greater and greater ways. And that love will spill out towards others immediately. It just will. As we work on ourselves, then it helps others. And switch off the gizmos from time to time. Get into nature and connect to your sacred breath.
That is wonderful advice. That goes along with meditation, you guys. I always tell everybody if we could just meditate like 10 minutes in the morning or something, that makes a big difference. Do you see more miracles happening as we all become woken up and more conscious? Do you see miracles occurring? What do you think, Rashmi?
Definitely, definitely. So, when we connect to this heart soul energy, the photonic energies are happening anyways. We don't need to go into mystery schools anymore. Every minute of everybody's life is an initiation. In the ancient mystery schools, I was chucked into a dark room under the pyramids, with water and full of crocodiles, and we had to make it from point A to point B through the crocodiles in pitch black. Well, now we're going through those initiations in real life. I was all alone, home alone, in a building that 1 kilometer in size, minus a couple of staff, downstairs.
Wow.
And the lift working and all the rest of it, and a lot of the lights out, and a baby lizard and things like that, which I'm not too keen on. But you see, things that I imagine that, we always think the best thing to do with fear is to go face it. And the greatest fear everybody's facing right now is death. So death is not real.
Right.
And ultimately the soul chooses, and we can be conscious co-creators of even that moment when we choose to transition, if we're ready to take charge of our beingness and understand that we are omniscient and we are, unlimited in our potential and our sovereignty. But while we give our power away to doctors and all kinds of priests and religion and everything outside of ourselves, that's not going to lead to wellness and physical immortality.
We've got to come back within. We've got to find ourselves within and heal ourselves from within.
Within. It is simple, but it's just something that takes 21 days practice to give up the old bad habit of being mesmerized with the outside. Everybody thinks it's from the outside to within. It's within to the outside. It's from the within to the outside every single time.
So if people can just consciously every day think about going within and not being so attached to the material and the outside or what people think, then they will see a change in themselves. And the other thing I want to say really quick to Rashmi before we go for today is, once you do believe and connect to the divine, I call him God, then you're not afraid to die anymore, because you realize that we are eternal souls.
Correct.
That fear is gone,
Yeah. And when our loved ones pass away, we do grieve a bit, and we must acknowledge that. Right. However, my mother is closer to me now than even when she was alive, because if I lose something, I'll say, "Ma, fairy godmother, where are my keys?" And she'll tell me where the keys are, and I find them in a second. And the rest of the time, I'm happy to let her fly free, because our sorrow keeps them bound in a way, and ultimately it's all one, and it is us. The ancestors move with us within our DNA as us, right. And we're here to to evolve consciousness, because consciousness is always evolving, right. Or devolving. We've been in a devolving cycle, but now it's either shift and raise frequency or destruct. And so that's a choice for each and every soul on this planet as we speak.
Wow. Rashmi, thanks for coming on the show today. You guys, I'm holding up one of her books. It's called The Divine Mother Speaks. She has a couple others. Rashmi, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate it.
Much love, Nancy. Love you. Bye. Take care.
Love you too. You guys, this is Nancy Yearout. This is High Road to Humanity.
Connect the dots and keep the motion. Can achieve your goal. Let's hit the high road.
Hey, you guys, join me next week on The High Road for more stories filled with wisdom, love, and hope for our future. Have a fabulous week, and know that by staying on the high road, you will make it to your destination. Visit my website, nancyyearout.com, where you can book a private session to learn how to tap into your own abilities. And check out my YouTube channel. It's Nancy Yearout's High Road to Humanity.
You can achieve your goal.